You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's that time of the week. We are now joined by Auburn guard Zep Jasper. Zep, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Congrats on that commanding win over the Yale Bulldogs this past Saturday. We were talking before we clicked record, Zep, but a strong and quick start goes a long way in a game like that.
Oh yeah. We always talk about coming out and coming out strong from the jump. Because when you don't come out strong from the jump, you don't make a statement. So we wanted to make a statement, no matter the team on the jersey, no matter who we play. We want to make a statement, and we made a statement early on in the game, and that's what made us come out strong.
When I was looking up stuff about Yale before you guys played them, their guard, Swain, I think is his name, seemed like a pretty effective scorer. You locked him up a few times there, but a guy like that, kind of getting the opportunity to defend a player like that, what all goes into that kind of preparation?
When you look at film and you look at videos on what he do and what's his weakness, what's his strengths. Coming into the game, we thought Swain was a great player, good scorer, one of the best scorers we done played in our eighth game. And he's a great player. I respect him as a player and respect how he plays. But we dig deep down in every little thing he did, and I think he struggled against the length, the pressure, and I just think he never seen defense like this year. And I think it shows what type of defense we got, and it shows how strong our defense is. And it shows no matter how much you score, no matter how big of a scorer you are, when you play against Auburn, you're going to struggle. You're going to have to be able to take the pressure. You're going to have to be able to take the shot blockers. We just have so many strengths in our defense, and I just enjoy it playing with these guys.
Well, and a big thing is depth. I mean, that's such a big part of why you guys were able to play at that intensity, because you're going to get relief and your teammates are going to come in and back you up. But this Yale team, just kind of listening to on the radio interview with Coach Stephen Pearl, he said, hey, these guys are not going to be afraid to play 11 guys. And so there's going to be a lot of different players on the court. We ended up seeing that on Saturday. But kind of preparing for multiple different guys when okay, I may have to cover 4 or 5 different people in this game. Does that kind of change how you approach a matchup?
Well, no, because like I say, when we go into film, we watch every single player on the scouting report, and we have to make sure we know, like I said, we have to make sure we know their strengths, their weakness, if they're going to go right hand, if they're left-handed. Mm-hmm. Even from the big man, even though I'm a guard, I have to know what the big man is going to do, just in case I get caught up on a switch, and I know which hand he's going to go to. I know which shoulder he's going to turn to. So it doesn't matter how many players they play. I just got to know what they do. And I always pay attention to the scout report. Like coaches say, number 10 was a left-hander. We know he's going to go left. He's strong left-handed. He's a shooter. Make sure you got to push up when he shoots. And it showed Saturday that he's a great shooter. And it showed that it wasn't a scary team. They can play. They wanted to play against Auburn. It was one of the biggest games on their schedule.
Sure. No, and then they came out for it. You could tell they wanted it. But go a little bit more into the scouting report. I mean, the detail and how it's prepared, does it seem different at Auburn than it was at College of Charleston?
Well, I would say that's a good question. I would say the scouting reports it's almost kind of the same, but It's broke down a little bit better at Auburn. I would say the reason why it's broke down a little bit better at Auburn, because they teach you like teaching points, meaning when they run their plays, it shows us exactly what they're gonna do. Mm-hmm. Even when they break down from their play, it shows you their cuts, what's their breakdown play they're gonna call, what's their hand signal. It just shows you every single thing. Where at Charleston, we just went through the plays and the personnel of the players and the out of bound plays, and that really was it. But here we go into every single little detail which gives you no clue. You have to. That means you're gonna remember. We watch it so much, you're gonna
Yeah.
remember. You're gonna remember they play it so easy. Like I remember this weekend. I remember this week too. Watching Yale on film, and
Right.
we always talk about the back door. Being Ivy League school, we pressure the ball so they like jump up and backdoor them. So I just remember in the game on Saturday, no backdoor in my head. I pressure the ball, so I know they're gonna want to try to get me backdoor. So I would stay connected with my man because we would always talk about it on film with Stephen Pearl, and he would tell us, do not get backdoor. They're gonna come with the ball and backdoor you. They want you to help. They want you to come up
Yeah.
and backdoor you. So I just in my head, that's what I would think and that's what I would do just off of watching the film, just remembering. Like I still remember their plays. I still remember what they do.
Yeah. No, I think that shows. And we've heard this from other players that have played for Coach Pearl. But I mean, just it seems like he's obsessed with teaching. I mean, he never stops coaching, he never stops teaching. And I think that's why you always see his teams get better from the start of the season to the end of the season. I mean, it's just noticeable difference. Some of that I think is buy-in, but also just from a basketball standpoint, it seems like his teams get so much smarter as the season goes on.
Yes. Coach BP, he want to coach to the end. No matter if he up by 50, 60, 40, 20, 30.
Yeah.
He's one of those coaches you want to push you to the limit. He does that, just to show you like we haven't reached our highest limit yet. Him as a coach, he's a competitive coach. He try to push his players as much as he can. And that's why I respect him so much. Just because we win don't mean we did something. That's why he always on us, giving us motivation, giving us talks. Because
Sure.
he see us win. He wants to see us succeed. And when I first got here, I would ask myself, he's always happy, but he want to be happier. Like, he's never satisfied. He got a competitive spirit I've never seen before in a coach.
Yeah.
And that just hypes me up, and it keeps me level. Because it keeps me so level, it shows like you haven't done nothing yet.
Right.
Kevin, we still climbing. We trying to get to the Final Four still. We trying to get to the top.
Mm-hmm.
We still count it out. And he shows that in practice, during the games. Even when we win by 20, he still come in the locker room and they still not satisfied, still mad. But I respect that because it shows he fight to the end. And that's why I respect him so much. And he never tell a lie. He always be honest.
Mm-hmm.
You never met an honest coach. You never meet lots of honest coaches because him, he's honest. He's him. He's BP. He yells. He give you energy. But I just love him as a coach.
Yeah, no, it sounds like he's fun to play for. Zep, what do we know about this this Nebraska team that you guys are playing this weekend in Atlanta, part of the Holiday Hoopsgiving event?
Well, we haven't watched much film. We haven't watched film yet.
Sure.
But I know they last 4 games. They didn't play NC State, Indiana, and they done lost. They went to NC State and went into 2-3 overtimes. It was a close game. 100 points to 104. They got a great scorer, freshman. I think his name is Bryce McGowan's. But I know they're gonna come to play hard against Auburn in Atlanta. They got a couple South Carolina guys, and I know they're gonna be pumped up to play Auburn. Being a top 25 team, and
Sure.
Nebraska being in the Big 12, they want to show they're gonna want to show why the Big 12 can play with the SEC basketball. With SEC being the best basketball conference in the world right now in college basketball. I think they're gonna come out with a fight. I think they're gonna come out hungry. So this week is gonna be crucial for us. It's gonna be we're gonna have to pay attention because I think this team can play. This team gonna come out and want to beat us.
The game's at 10:30 Central Time. Is that the earliest game that you've played in a while?
This is actually the earliest game I done played in college basketball since I've been.
Sure, I believe it. I believe it. Does that change anything? I mean, you guys have played 11 o'clock tips and stuff. Is it that much different?
That don't change anything. We got a lot of. Let me tell you, we got a lot of Georgia guys. I know Nebraska is gonna be excited to play, but let me tell you, we're gonna be excited to play. We got like 5 or 6 Georgia guys, meaning we're gonna see our family. Our family
Right.
gets to see us up close in Atlanta, in Georgia. From Georgia guys, we got a lot of scouts, a lot of this, that. We're gonna come out with so much energy. It's gonna be contagious. With our head cut off.
Right.
I'm so excited to play, just to see my family, just to see people from Augusta come in and watch and see how Auburn basketball is. Instead of seeing it on TV, they get to see it in person. They actually get to see it live. So it makes your heart warm when you see it. It gets you cringe. It makes you like, let's go.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, and an event like this, I mean, the Holiday Hoopsgiving, I mean, that's a pretty cool thing. A lot of people are going to have that on their TVs this weekend, especially with college football kind of trailing out now and not a whole lot of action happening this weekend. That's going to be a big primetime event.
No doubt, with a lot of great teams.
Yeah.
But I think, with Auburn, I don't know why we got the first game. I thought we should have been the last game.
The headliner
and one of the best teams in the tournament. But I'll take 11 o'clock game or what it may be. But we still gonna have the best fans show up in the arena, in the State Farm Arena. We're gonna have the most fans in the arena. So that's why I was like, I don't know why we playing last, but we'll make it work. We'll make it happen.
That's right. That's right. Zep, you mentioned rankings. You mentioned a top 25 team. The net rankings came out. The NCAA put those out today. Auburn is ranked 16th. That is 4th in the SEC. When you look at all these analytics scores and all that, they're ranking Auburn way ahead. I mean, some 10 to 9 to 10 spots higher than where like the AP and the coaches poll have you guys. Is that a comforting thing? Is that something you even look at?
Well, sometimes I don't look at it because I be telling myself, and it really doesn't mean nothing.
Yeah.
But it's always good to see your team and see the team be in those type of spots.
Right.
Like I said, I always tell you, I always want to be the underdog. Coming to games, it's better to be the underdog because it gives you more hunger. You feed off that. Just seeing people don't respect us. Like I still see people. Some people still think we're not good. I love that because we have to show them. Don't ride the bandwagon when we beat the top teams. Don't say we good then, because I feel like people want to jump on it when we win. But when we all see who thinks we're not good. We all see the tweets. We all see people saying this, people saying that.
Right.
But we enjoy that. We want that because it gives us hunger. It gives us fight inside. It makes us want to play harder when you see those type of things. But with them putting us in the net rankings, I think it's pretty good. It shows up as a good resume, for in the long run for the NCAA tournament. Top tier teams, top tier 1 teams, top tier 2 teams. It's good to get those type of net rankings for the long run.
Zep, a ton of folks right now on the football side of things have entered the transfer portal. From experience, and I'm sure there's some minor differences between sport, football, and basketball, but what are these guys going through right now that all over the country are entering the transfer portal?
Well, I've been seeing a lot of guys in the transfer portal for football. I know a lot of things going through their mind right now, especially, if you want one of the top players this season. But just being an okay player is good to enter in the portal. But you got to know what you're doing in the portal. Because if you don't know what you're doing in the portal, you won't get nothing. You'll regret the mistake you done for life. It'll come hunt you for life. But those top players, they're going to be set. They're going to be able to go to any school they want to go to. So it's kind of good for them. And it's just about making the best decision of your life, because you can go from a mid-major school and go to a high-major school and have the best time of your life and win a championship.
And you've told the story before, Zep, but as soon as you press the enter button to go into the portal, how long was it until you got a phone call?
I got a phone call like a minute later. I walked out.
Where was it from? Remind me where it was from.
I got an offer as soon as I got out the portal from Seton Hall.
That's right.
The Big East school. And
how long did it take for Auburn to call?
It took them like an hour.
Okay.
Hour. As soon as as a matter of fact, as soon as I sat down in my seat at home, Auburn called.
Was it Bruce that called?
It was Stephen Pearl. Okay. That was my recruiter. But I actually got a call. From BP on the line with Stephen Pearl. In the transfer portal with my trainer, Coach Rob Allen. And we got on the phone call and talked and just have a regular conversation, just being a cool guy, not being a coach who want to talk your head off and talk about the wrong things. A lot of coaches lie to you when you enter the transfer portal and they talk about, oh, you do this, and that and I program. But BP, he didn't talk about that. He just got on the phone. It was him. That's why I liked him. He was him. He was nobody else. Stephen Pearl was him. He was 100% on what he told me, and I believed everything he said. And ever since I got here, he's been 100 with me. BP been 100 with me, and I respect that. And every coach on the coaching staff has been 100 with me. They push you to the limit. They push you till you can't go no more.
Do you imagine it's a similar thing with football, though? As soon as somebody enters, they get a million phone calls?
No doubt. Yeah. Especially like if you're a great player, ESPN top 100 player entering the portal. I imagine them getting a lot of phone calls from top 25 ranked football teams. I know like there's some football teams playing in the bowl still, but they're getting the calls right now. It's gonna be crazy, especially when football season get over with.
Right.
It's gonna get crazy for those dudes in the transfer portal, and it's gonna make them happy. It's actually gonna make them feel like I ain't work for nothing. Me entering the transfer portal, seeing me getting all these calls. And it's like some people didn't, before coming to college, they didn't get those, Alabama's, Auburn's,
right,
Ole Miss, those Oregon. They didn't get those type of calls before coming to college. Now, them entering the transfer portal, they're getting them type of calls. So it's like, dang, I really work hard in college. Now I'm getting those calls. It's like, this is what I worked for my whole life. Yeah. Now I can succeed. Now I can get it. And now it's like, it's going to boost their confidence to another level.
Zep, was there any sense of urgency with the portal stuff just because of the whole, there were more kids in the portal than there were like scholarships available?
Yes, it was a lot. It was like 1,000, 1,200 kids.
That was a bunch. That was a
bunch of kids. And when I seen it, when I entered the portal, it was like 700, 800 kids. But I wasn't worried about if I wasn't gonna get a scholarship, because I knew coming into the portal that my name was gonna be hot off the season I had and what I bring to the table, like defense and offense, being a two-way player. That's why
I remember when you entered the portal, a bunch of articles came out. I remember reading about you before you were even linked to Auburn.
Yeah, so I remember entering the portal, and I was like, let's see how this gonna turn out. Like, but I always had Auburn in my mind. I always had Auburn. As soon as before I entered the portal, I would do my research and where I'm gonna go. But Auburn was always top 3. Yeah. Auburn was always on that. It was that I had a slot, and I would never let Auburn go. Never. Mm-hmm. And it's like, as soon as I committed, it's like Justin Powell left. It was another kid left. I forgot his name, but he's a shooter. He left too. The next day.
Yeah, Jamal Johnson transferred.
Jamal Johnson. The next day, I committed. And I say, and it's crazy how it works. It's crazy. I looked up Auburn roster, I would say in March. And I was saying, look how I fit in this program. I didn't talk to Stephen Pearl, Bruce Pearl, none of the coaches. I was like, look how I fit in this roster. I was telling my trainer that, and he was like, yeah, you will fit in this roster. Mm-hmm. And, like, it was like a done deal, really. But I still would talk to coaches. I knew I was coming to Auburn, but it was like, dang. Just in case, I got to talk to other coaches too.
Sure. Yeah. No, I get it. Do what's best for you.
When I first started talking to BP, I fell in love with him, and I love him as a coach. I don't care how much he yell at me, what he tell me to do. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT, and I love him for that.
No, I think it's awesome. Zep, thank you for your time as always, brother. We'll talk again next week.
All right.
All right, be sure to tune in tomorrow. This has been Locked On Auburn.